So here's the thing. A lot of what you just have to do is simply just get up and repeat and learn the particular strategy or technique or tactic or whatever you want to call it. But it's all kind of the same thing. Where you try something, you see if it works, and if it doesn't work, you don't do that thing again. You try it a few times, just make sure it's not necessarily working or not working, and then you keep going with it if it does work. And you really need to sort of think about what it actually takes to do this kind of stuff. It's a long, tedious process, and you can't give up on yourself. I think those are the key things that you got to think about. So if you don't know me, I am Professor Dave Mastak. I'm an associate professor of innovation strategy and entrepreneurship. And I created this whole reciprocity project to give back. So many people that help me out that I want to pay the favor forward to help you out. So I'm actually just walking around Seattle. I have an academic conference, and I am trying to get some exercise right now, kind of doing like just exercise in the street. I kind of try to do that. We went a couple of days ago. We climbed a mountain in Vancouver for a vacation, and I am extremely stiff and sore from it. I'm surprised, but I mean, it's not surprising. But I just wanted to talk to you about this. So if you hear a lot of background noises and things like that, just I'm in Seattle. So, you know, the key thing, a lot of what, it doesn't matter the area that you're in, right? Many of the processes that we do are pretty extremely simple. The research on this is sort of learning pattern. It's pretty universal across the board. And, you know, no matter what domain it is, you got to sort of stop thinking about all of the tricky things and, you know, strategies and all of that kind of stuff. It's all the same stuff, right? So you try something, see if it works, get feedback from that particular thing. If it doesn't work, you know, and you have to try it several times. That's where some of the trickiness comes in. And you have to sort of analyze the feedback. And, you know, if you have good feedback that it's not working, then you stop that thing and you go to something else. But, you know, that story, it is talked about, at least, you know, in what I do and what I focus on in terms of how to improve performance. You know, it's talked about a fair bit, but we really focus on the very simple mechanism like that, where it's the win, you know, win, stay, lose, switch mechanism, and we just really focus on that. And nobody is focusing on, you know, this stuff takes a lot, and there's a lot of repetition that you have to do, and, you know, it's not just one iteration. To do this kind of stuff, I was thinking about, like, how do I do this repeatedly so that it's part of my life? I sort of learn something, I get better at it, and just keep going with it. Right? Like, it's really hard to do that kind of stuff. Most people give up, and so you need an unbelievable amount of control and sort of determination, whatever you want to call it, right? Self-control, to keep going with something, even though it feels like you're a giant loser, it's not working. And that story is like true across the board. Whether you are in science or business or the arts, creative, you know, whatever domain that you're in, the story is always the same. You always feel like you're not accomplishing anything. It sucks, you know, I'm the only person. All of those kind of things. Unless you're highly unusual, but the sort of challenge of doing these kind of things, you feel like self-conscious and all that kind of stuff, right? The challenge is getting up and doing it repeatedly, enjoying it, and sort of making it part of your life. I think that's where I want to go, and a huge part of the whole reciprocity project now has moved towards, how do you do this on a daily basis so it's easy, not only easy for me, but then, you sort of see it's less stigmatized. Right now I'm doing bear crawls, by the way, so my voice is kind of choppy. Bear crawls on the sidewalk. But, it's a lot of repetition, and so you have to feel comfortable doing it. And a lot of the stuff is really hard to do without feeling comfortable with it. And if you just make it kind of enjoyable, you hear people say that, right? But how do you make it enjoyable? Well, then you just keep doing it and repeating it, and it might feel weird, but you just keep doing it and keep working at it. And you're going to sort of lose a lot along the way in terms of who you are and what you're about. But the less that you try to destigmatize things and normalize it in your life, I think it becomes a lot more fun and interesting, right? So, to give you an example, I use this is the reciprocity project is, how do I make building this platform, reciprocity.com, as much as part of my life as possible. So it's enjoyable, and, I'm not viewing it as work, and I'm just sort of playing around. Same thing as, doing academic research. Yes, it's a heck of a lot of work, but how do you make it, enjoyable so you can keep getting up and doing it? And I think it's, where you normalize it, make it part of your life, spread goodwill, all of those things where you get positive emotions. Think about the suite of things that gives you positive emotions. And we all know what that sort of suite of things are, right? The repertory of responses that give us positive emotions. And think about those things. Pursue those. So it's enjoyable, it's fun. And make it sort of part of your life. So, you might look at this and think, well, this is really rinky-dinky and kind of silly, but hey, you know what? If I do this for a decade, 2 decades, it's not going to be all that rinky-dinky. It's going to be something, and it'll be interesting. Right? And I've already seen that with a huge chunk of the platform is growing. It's doing, better and better every day, and we're building things out, and that's what you do, right? You don't just kind of try one thing and see if it works or doesn't work. You just keep doing it, and you normalize it and make it part of your life. So I think that's a lesson that I want everybody to sort of realize. Just keep repeating and making it enjoyable, however that you could do that in your life, and just do that every day and repeat. That's all I wanted to say today. All right, take care and have a wonderful day.